Hey everybody, it's Tim Hepworth here with Fly Fishing Bover Outfitters and Thursday Night Live Fly Tying, and I'm here to bring you another quick tie, sponsored by Rocky Mountain Fly Shop. Today we are going to be going through the strip leech. This guy here, old original pattern, but still has its purpose out there, and going to take you through how to tie this one. I'm tying out of episode 14 of our season 5 kits. If you do not already have one of these, you still can go ahead and grab one. Head on over to our website, which you'll see there on the screen, and you can grab your season 5 kit today and follow along on all the quick ties we have done for this season. Let's head on over to the vise and we'll just get rocking on this one. So very simple fly. We only have basically 2 materials. We have a rabbit strip and we have a piece of silver wire, or this mylar material, which we're going to use today, and some thread. So very, very simple and easy to go through. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop that out of our vise. We will go ahead and get our next hook placed in the vise, which we're tying on a size 8, 2X heavy. It's actually a long nymph hook is what we're gonna be tying on. I'm using some brown colored UTC in 140, so just a dark thread. You could use white as you saw in that previous fly as well. It just gives a little different appearance, but I'm gonna go with something a little darker this time. I'm gonna start my thread just behind the eye of the hook. Trim out that tag end. We're gonna run our thread all the way down into the bend. Make sure we cover up any and all of the hook. And then I'm gonna bring my thread up almost back to the eye. I'm gonna go ahead and grab that silver material we gave you there, which is kind of like a beefed up thread almost. It has a little core in it, but it's just nice and shiny and shows through this pattern pretty nice. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cover this up all the way back down to the bend of the hook. If we have a little bit of silver shining through, that is a-okay. We're gonna leave that right there, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab the only other material that we're working with today, and that's gonna be some olive colored, rabbit zonker. I would stay away from the magnum size zonker for this fly. It's a little bit smaller. If you tied this in a bigger size, you could get away with it. But you want that leather underpiece to be fairly small. So when measuring the length that we're gonna wanna use, I don't want a tail that's for sure any longer, and the tail includes all the way up to the tip of that fur. I wanna take that hook shank and length and I can transfer that back. That's all the longer I want it to be. I don't want it to be super long. So when I find that spot, the portion of this fly you're gonna realize has maybe a little bit of frustration in doing, is I have to continually moisten my fingers with some saliva or water, whatever you have around, and I'm gonna be constantly pulling and separating it out. Okay, so that I can get right down to the core of the actual kind of the leather portion of the material. So then I'm gonna go ahead and grab my thread right here, and I'm gonna tie this down, get a good thread wrap, couple thread wraps, imagining that leather portion is kind of just folding around that hook. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is every time I advance my thread, I'm gonna tie it down, and then I'm gonna follow it with this silver material. Now, you could just use the silver material, advance your thread all the way forward and ignore what I'm gonna do, but I think this is a much more secure fly if I do this portion first. So I'm gonna bring that up there. I'm just gonna move forward every couple centimeters, moisten it down, put another thread wrap over top. 2 is plenty. I'm gonna pull some more, advance my thread forward again. I'm just gonna do this, repeat this all the way up the front of the fly. So I'm just constantly separating that fur out, taking another wrap, second one, lift it up, advance again. So then imagining when I bring this other material through, it's just gonna do a nice winding motion all the way forward. Okay. A little bit more moisture. The good thing with this fur is that if you do add some moisture, it does separate quite nicely for you. Take another thread wrap there. Now we're gonna kind of be in here for basically our last one. I'm not gonna go super tight to that eye. And this time, instead of splitting the fur, I'm actually just gonna imagine where my last bit's gonna be, lay it all down. So we're gonna take advantage of some of the fur that's actually out here. I'm gonna pull that back so I've got some good coverage. And I'm gonna take a thread wrap right there. I'm gonna lift it up, take a few thread wraps underneath. I'm gonna trim out the fur portion here. So you see how that's standing up a little bit there. It's because I left a little bit of that extra fur on that was farther up that leather patch. And I'm gonna take some thread wraps just to basically secure the front of this fly down, build a little bit of a head, like so, kind of cover up that little bit of fur. And now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go now in reverse. I'm gonna come all the way to the back here, find that first tie-in point. I'm gonna take my silver material, I'm gonna bring it through. Then I'm gonna pull this back out of the way, find the next spot that I came through. This can sometimes be the more challenging part because you've already kind of moistened it a little bit. Wind that up. Go through that spot. And just continue the same process all the way forward. Find those separations. Bring that silver material through. Just got one more. It should just end up looking like a nice palmered kind of silver flash underneath. Then I bring my last one right up to here, and I need to secure this off so this doesn't come undone, which is thread wraps behind and in front as always. And I can go ahead and I can trim this out. And I can come in here. Before I whip finish, I just want to make sure I kind of have all of that material covered. I'm going to whip finish just back here. And now I'm going to put just a little bit of UV resin to build a little bit of a head on this guy. And then we'll basically be done. I'm going to go ahead, set that aside. I'm going to pull all that material back. Come in here with my UV resin, and I'm just going to touch kind of on those thread wraps. Come in and cure it. Like so. If you have any little bits of fur that are kind of sticking out or around, you can go ahead and trim those out. Trim them out of the way. And you take a peek at that from the underside, you can see that nice palmered forward silver flash material. Gives just a little extra flash to this fly. And that is the strip leech. Nothing too complicated about it, but it's definitely one you shouldn't ignore. Add it to your repertoire of leeches because there's lots of leech patterns out there. This one we've tied unweighted as well, which you can always add weight or add a bead to it to change it up a little bit. But this is the original. Okay, guys, it's Tim Epworth here with Fly Fishing Board Outfitters and Thursday Night Live Fly Tying. I want to thank you for joining us for this quick tie. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you hit that bell, it actually works in your favor because you'll see every time we have another video come up. Maybe it gives you a heads up that you need to get back on the vise. Okay, guys, till next week and another pattern. We'll see you then.